What the? How did you get in here? This video is part of the NationGen for Mew series, which is a MagicGen game, meaning that all of the spells in the game are randomly generated. In this video, I'm going to be looking through the nature spells. Let's start with conjuration. So quite a lot of stuff at 0. We have Insect Cloud, range 30, 200 cast time, AoE 1, lingering 4, at 1 point of piercing damage. It also disrupts spell casting, so that's kind of cool. Just a cloud that does 1 damage per second while you're in it, and interrupts you. Pretty cool. It can also conjure a wolf in combat, 20 fatigue, 200 cast time, gets you a wolf. We can summon boars as a ritual, 5 plus 2 scaling, costs 1 nature gem, gets you a boar. We can also conjure boars in combat, 100 cast time, 20 fatigue, summons 1 boar, and well growth. This looks like Tangle Vines, but it costs a gem, and has a 22 plus 3 scaling AoE. Kinda cool. Requires no research, just dump that on the battlefield. Very nice. I like it. Level 1 then, ritual to summon lionesses. 1 nature gem gets you 9 plus 1 scaling. 4 great lions gets you 5. Lots of lions. Or we can do killer mantises in combat, 8 of them for a gem. 250 cast time. I think these are vanilla mantises though, so probably don't get the cool magic claws. 2 then, we got Haze of Growth in combat. So a lingering AoE 4 entanglement. That's pretty cool. Conjure Lesser Foul Spawn. No gems, gets you 2 Foul Spawn. 100 cast time, 25 fatigue. Lesser Foul Spawn aren't very impressive, but you know. Got loads of nature mages just spamming that, it might be good. We have a national spell that's kind of cool. I tried this out in test games. So it summons a Wearying Horned Serpent, which is a Horned Serpent with Sleep Aura. So if you have lots of nature mages just spamming this, it can kind of take out stuff. Because so many enemy units get put to sleep. But the Sleep Aura will affect allies if you mix it in with allied units, so it's a bit awkward. Cool though. N2 mages can do Power of Gaia, gives you +1 nature magic. 200 cast time though. Doesn't give you any of the extra buffs that Power of Gaia usually gives you. You can also do ritual to summon animals, that's 26 plus 8 scaling for 4 gems, pretty nice. Or sprites, which is 10 plus 2 scaling for 4 gems. So lots of chaff at level 2 already, plus the boars and stuff, and lionesses. 3, we have a ritual for summoning organized great boars. These are boars with formation fighter 3. 1 gem each, 5 for 5. 4 then we have improved Insect Cloud. So how big was the original one? AoE 1, 200 cast time. This is AoE 1, 100 cast time. I think it's for 9 turns. Is that what this one was? This was 4. So yeah, that is a very long duration Insect Cloud. 9 turns of 1 damage per tick. Pretty good. We can also spam Vine Weaving Direwolves. This is really nice because it's 100% cast time, and you get 2 per cast. So it's pretty good, and they're direwolves who are, you know, they're decent blockers, but they have Vine Weaving, which means when they get hit, they entangle things. So that's also a really nice spell we can spam. The theme with our national in-combat summon seems to be animals with some kind of parrying effect, so it's kind of nice. We have ritual to do Phantasmal Druids. These are druids, but they are illusory units. They don't really cast spells. I think they just have attacks that are that look like spells. But get 4 of them for 9 nature gems might be useful. Don't think we have this cross path exactly though, but maybe we do. Black Harpies, 25 plus 9 scaling for 3 gems. If you really want lots of Black Harpies, should be pretty easy to pull off. And Sleepers, nice leaders for 6 nature gems. Pretty good. 5 then, we can conjure Chithronic Lions in combat. These are good units. 1 gem getting you 4 in combat. Not sure if I would use that though. I'm gonna take you out of battle for a while because of the fatigue cost, but they're pretty good units, they're very tanky. And Shark Attack as well. So this is the battlefield enchantment, Shark Attack. Underwater stuff. Howl, also the battle enchantment Howl. And it requires N2 and 2 gems. Pretty good. Pretty early on as well. Conjuration 6, not too bad. Relentless Vines then. So an N5 mage can spend 2 gems in combat to hit the entire battlefield, including allies, it seems, with Entanglement. MO negates. 350 cast time. Interesting. And this looks like a global. So this is N6, 55 gems. Yep, global enchantment. In each friendly land province, there is a 7% chance per point of dominion that a single sight-searching commander transforms. This can at most affect 1 commander per province. Undead or inanimate commanders cannot be transformed by this spell. So this would also affect enemy commanders that were sight-searching, which is... I think so anyway. Which is amusing. So it can turn your mages into Reforming Foulspawn, Noxious Mooses, Wearying Buffalo, Noxious Oleogryphs, Foulskin Chimera, Swamp Drakes, Tiny Tarrasque, Furious Elephants, or Lifebound Minotaurs. Interesting. So that's there anyway. At level 7 then, some very easy to cast spells. So an N1 mage can conjure Great Spiders for a gem. That gets you 16 plus 2 scaling Great Spiders in combat. Pretty nice. Or how about some Shrunken Swamp Drakes? 7 plus 1 scaling for a gem. Interesting. And then an N2 mage can do another national spell, Conjure Barbed Manticore. A Manticore with Poison Barbs 5. That's okay. Manticores are kinda cool. Ritual then at 8. National one, Gas Breathing Crocodile Ambush. It looks like this is a remote assassination. It summons a crocodile with a Drake Gas attack. A beam weapon with a range of 6, AoE 4. It inflicts armor-negating poison damage and has 5 ammunition. That seems pretty good. Use that to assassinate people who don't have any poison resistance, and that'll probably take them out. Poison's pretty insidious. So we have some blood crosspath spells then, which is quite interesting. Crimson Wild Growth takes 3 gems, affects the entire battlefield with Entanglement, and then... is this bleeding? Yeah. That's pretty nice. Shame it also affects friendlies. Interesting. And Bloody Vapor of Entanglement. So this is just an extremely large 67 plus 9 scaling AoE, lingering 4 Entanglement, which also just has second effect bleeding. Interesting. Can also do Conjure Furious Tiger in combat. Requires N3. Has a cast time of 10 and a fatigue cost of 5. So you could get out 5 tigers very, very quickly. And they have Berserk 9, which is probably quite good actually. That's pretty funny. Would like to try spamming that at some point. N5 S3 then can do Defenders of Great. Is this a global for 29 gems? No, it's a ritual. Okay. This is a province enchantment. And this helps... okay, so this puts more fort defenders on the walls during fort storms. So that's quite cool actually. Especially if it's putting cockatrices and stuff on the walls. That seems really good. How many extra units is it? 12 creatures multiplied by the fort value. Not bad. Very expensive though, 29 gems to do that. I'm not sure, it's hard to kind of... hard to really gauge the effectiveness of a spell like that. Especially if you've just got a surplus of nature gems, you might just dump it on a awkward battle. Wearying Minotaur Ambush. Okay, this is a remote assassination. Get attacked by a Minotaur with a Sleep Aura, that sounds pretty good. And Gaia's Portals, so this is a global. This takes 85 nature gems and an N6 caster. And in each friendly land province with a lab, there are 3 independent chances to spawn 1d6 random creatures. With these odds, and you get some Swamp Drakes, Grotesques, Elephants, Foul Beasts, Chithronic Lions, Vine Ogres, Killer Mantises. Seems pretty good. I like these globals that just generate chaff for you. Some of them sound quite nice as well. At level 9 then, we have a ritual to summon Stealthy Tarrasques. 2 for 11 gems. Pretty nice. Called Giant Shamans in combat. 11 plus 1 scaling for 3 gems. And Faunal Control. Also a global enchantment. Each friendly province has 3 independent chances at 7% chance per point of friendly dominion to spawn 1d3 random animals. There's also a single 7% chance per point of dominion that a random animal commander spawns. Animals spawned by the spell are selected from all animals in the game, except that the following tags prevent selection: unique, sacred, shape change, first shape, grow HP, so on. So just if you want to have lots of animals, there's a global for you. Alright, alteration next. Not much here. We've got Swarm at level 0. 2 bugs, I assume. And Bark Skin. AoE 1, 200 cast time. It's Bark Skin. Nice. Nothing at 1. 2, we have Sturdy Hides. Grants slashing resistance and +5 natural protection to animals. Not bad if you got some animals. AoE 5. 3 then, we've got some protection from poison. AoE 1, 15 poison resist. Small AoE, but big buff. 4, we have Curse of the Frog. Causes one enemy to become a frog for the rest of their life. Range 30, cast time 200. And Poison Fend at 4. So, the entire battlefield gets 10 poison resist. That's quite nice. Why is N4 though? I think we need some boosters to cast that. 5, we have Trampling Juggernaut in combat. The caster becomes significantly larger than normal and gains the confidence to crush those who stand in his way. What did this take? N3. It's a bit prohibitive. The caster gains Trample and Greater Enlargement, +2 size, +60% hit points, 6 strength, -2 defense, 4 map move. Creatures that are size 4 or larger are only enlarged 1 stage. The spell will not be cast unless scripted. That's pretty funny. That would be a really cool one to propagate through a communion, just for the enlargement, to be honest. But if we could thug someone out who had N3, they might also want to cast that. That'd be cool. Level 6, we have Insectoid Poison Blood. N2, 1 gem. This is an AoE 8, Precision 100, armor negating poison effect. 16 +3 scaling damage. That's already a big AoE poison attack that also does polymorph. The spell may polymorph those it affects into insects. That's pretty funny. It is MR negates easily though, so might not be too bad to resist. It does take a gem to cast it, but yeah, that's a big AoE. Interesting one. And Resistant Group Enlargement. N3, 1 gem. You get an AoE 15 +2 scaling enlargement spell, okay. And then it has a secondary effect of additional resistance. But only if you fail a magic resistance roll. So you get enlarged, and then if you fail a magic resistance roll, you get 4 magic resistance. That's quite nice. N3 and a gem, not too bad. Nothing at 7. At 8, we have a national spell. Only requires N1 and a gem. Hardy Thickened Hide. This is the slashing resistance and protection buff for animals for the whole battlefield. And then if you fail a magic resistance roll, you get 4 magic resistance for the battlefield. So, quite nice. I wonder if the MR still gets applied to things that aren't animals. It just says extra effect, it doesn't say... Well, I don't know, would it say on damage? I'm not sure. The second effect has the entire battlefield as the AoE though, not like single target, so... Yeah, I think everyone would get the MR even if they weren't an animal. Interesting. It's very easy to cast, we can try it out. We then have Tongue Pull, N4... range 45, 100% cast time, 1 person, 7 precision. That is a big damaging attack. 44 +3 points of armor piercing magic damage. An MR roll for half damage. And then extra effect on damage, Tongue Swallow. So anyone who gets hit by this just gets eaten, I think. The spell does not confer any digestive ability, and those swallowed will remain inside the caster until combat ends, at which point they die, or the caster is killed, which triggers their release. Interesting. And 9 we have Creeping Doom. Wow. 171 +9 effect. That is a big swarm. Wow. That sounds very good. If we get all the way to Alteration 9, which, let's be honest, we won't. Evocation then. 0 we have Touch of Entangling Plants. So, only a range 3, 25 cast time. Looks like Vine Arrow. Well, you're never going to use that. Too short range, but you know. Falling Thorns then. 200% cast time, 30 range. Does 3 points of armor negating damage, and then irritates the eyes and causes internal bleeding. Interesting. What else we got? Touch of Webs at level 1. Another range 3 spell. Does some webs. Big AoE. We're not going to use that either. Poisonous Bolt. Ooh, nice. AoE 1. Only 1 precision though. Pretty long range. Nice armor-negating poison projectile. That's not bad. Roots of Wrath is, again, range 3. 50 cast time, AoE 4. Does some entangling. You're probably never going to see these range 3 spells. Not very often anyway. And then for a gem, an N3 mage can do Burst of Thorns. Range 35 plus 5 scaling, AoE 4, 250 cast time. Does 3 points of armor negating damage, and then Irritates Eyes and Internal Bleeding. I'm still not sure what Irritate Eyes is, because the Fire Glass spells has that. I'm just assuming it's blindness, but I could be wrong. 2 then, we have Grasping Roots. In combat, 20 plus 5 range, AoE 1, does 17 points of armor-piercing blunt damage that defense negates, and then does entangling that defense negates. That's pretty cool. A bit different from other stuff. And Stream of Life at 2. So long range, normal cast time, 1 person, low precision though. Very spammy, 5 fatigue cost. Anyone hit must make a magic resistance check. Failure has a chance to inflict 999 armor-negating internal damage to the target, given by 35% plus 5% per caster level. Failing the magic resistance check and surviving the 999 damage, and surviving heals targets, gives them plus 4 strength and makes them berserk. Not sure I understand exactly. I think it's just you either die or you get a buff if it goes wrong. Interesting. Diminishing Poisonous Bolts at 3. N2 Mage, 1 gem. You get a range 30, 125 cast time, AoE 4. Still pretty low precision though. But a big AoE armor negating poison attack is quite good. And it also shrinks you. So that's pretty funny. Very nice. Diminishing Poisonous Bolts. Or we have Poisonous Cloud, so for a gem, an N2 Mage can drop a Poisonous Cloud on the battlefield. AoE 6 plus 1 scaling, lingers for 3 turns, armor negating poison damage. Pretty nice. We're probably not going to use many spells like that because we don't have much poison resist on our army, but it would be nice. Nothing at 5. 6 we have another Poisonous Cloud. This one does not require a gem and only requires N1. And yeah, another nice cloud. AoE 4, lingers 3. Yeah, very easy to dump lots of poison on the battlefield if you can survive it. Crosspath with Blood, we have Infernal Toxic Bursts for a nature gem. So this is range 50, 250 cast time. AoE 1, but with 3 effects. And very low precision. So this is going to be 3 big kind of AoE bursts that just get lobbed into the opponent. Does 19 plus 3 scaling points of armor negating poison damage. It also spreads toxicity, which I assume is just AoE damage. And then extra effect is Plane Shift. So the caster creates bursts of extremely potent toxins directed at his enemies. Those in the center of the blast will be severely poisoned, but anyone nearby will also suffer. So yeah, this is the big blast in the middle, and then this is just a big AoE damage that's much lower. And then the spell may send those it affects to Cocytus. This is certain deaths for most mortal creatures. Notably, wounded creatures must make an easy MR check or be sent to Cocytus. Okay, Plane Shift doesn't say magic resistance negates, so let's hope that's true. Because that's pretty strong if there's no magic resistance check, because in this section it doesn't look like there's a magic resistance check. But hey, the allied text says that there is, so let's hope there is. Otherwise lots of people are going to get sent to Cocytus for that spell. 7 we have Overwhelming Life, and it requires N1 and a gem. It's another one of these save or get buffed spells. Interesting. Fey Burst at N2, this sounds interesting. Oh, Fatigue spell, okay. So range 30, only 50% cast time. So it's 25 darts, or bolts, or projectiles, plus 4 per level. And it only takes 3 fatigue, that's extremely spammy. Does armor negating MR negates fatigue damage. 35 plus 7. Seems really nice. Because you could easily spam that. I mean, it's very late in the book, I suppose. But yeah, lots of N2 mages could just drop a ton of fatigue on the battle with that. Especially if they're quite strong nature mages. That'd be a nice target to hit. And Foul Vapors, which is just the Foul Vapors enchantment. That's in the book at 7, always powerful. Yeah, lots of poison in here. Nothing at 8, and at 9 we have Improved Poisonous Cloud, so AoE 16 plus 2, lingers 3. And Mass Thornfall, so this requires N6 and 3 gems. And it's the entire battlefield, including friendlies. It's hit by 3 points of armor negating untyped damage, and then Irritate Eyes, and then Internal Bleeding. Pretty nice. Construction next. So at 3, we can summon Lumber Constructs, always fun. Requires N2 and 2 gems. You get 5 Lumber Constructs. I guess these are unit versions. Yeah, they are. And then if we get all the way to 9, there is Animal Grand Citadel Construction. An N5 ritual for 68 nature gems. So yeah, this just puts a Grand Citadel in the province. Pretty nice. Very, very late in the book though. But if you do get Construction 9, nice in the late game to have a castle spell to drop on your thrones. Enchantment then. So at 0 we have Conjure Algaeman in combat. 200% cast time, 20 fatigue. We have Healing Remove Fear. I like the spell. So this is an AoE 8 plus 1 scaling spell that gives you 10 temporary morale, which is pretty cool. And then also does a heal of 10 as well. So that's really nice to spam on units, especially if you have lots of big units with lots of hit points, because they can get healed quite a lot throughout combat. There's also just a regular heal as well. AoE 1, 50% cast time, 35 heal. Pretty cool. We can also conjure Vine Archers in combat. And these guys have Entangling Vine Bows, which is very cool. 200% cast time though. At level 1 we have a ritual to summon the Vine Archers, so by +2 per level, only needs 2 nature gems. And can also conjure Vine Men in combat. We can summon Vine Men out of combat, which is 12 plus 9 scaling. So very easy to do ritual summon lots of Vine Men if you want them. And same for Algaeman, which is 8 plus 5 for only 1 nature gem. So lots of really cheap chaff in Enchantment very early. 2 we have Natural Resistance. AoE 5 plus 4 magic resistance, very nice. Haste, AoE 10 plus 1 scaling. Haste, doesn't even need a gem, very nice. And Healing Haze of Courage, which is more of this effect where you get a big AoE that also lingers, so units can walk through it, which is really good. So AoE lingers 4, gives you 10 morale, and then also heals you. Very nice spell. I really like that. 3, we have a ritual to do Improved Summon Vine Men, so this is 41 plus 9 for 4 gems. Lots of Vine Men in the book. Entangling Regeneration. So this sounds interesting. So this is a spell to do AoE 16 plus 2 regeneration on yourself, or a gem. But then if you fail a magic resistance roll, you also get entangled. So it's a rough regeneration spell. Interesting one. I noticed that this does not say does not affect enemies. So you could also end up regenerating your opponents, I think. Which is a bit funny. And we have Inspiring Gift of the Eagle. So an N4 mage can spend a gem to do, what is this? 27 plus 4 AoE Precision. Okay, that's very nice. That's like Wind Guide or Aim or Eagle Eyes. And then it also gives you 10 morale. Also pretty nice. Although that's a bit harder to cast. But our nation doesn't really have many archers, but I guess if we're doing some evocations later on, always nice to have someone just drop a big precision buff on everyone. Nothing at 4. 5 we have Improved Power of Gaia. Plus 1 nature magic for the caster, 100% cast time, 40 fatigue. 6 we have Poison Warding. So this doesn't need a gem, but it's very high fatigue anyway, 90. AoE 5, 200% cast time, 20 poison resistance. So that's a pretty nice poison buff to get to, although 6 is a bit late for an early target. At 7 we have an N3 mage can do a ritual for 14 nature gems. Strength of Distilled Life. So you cast this on yourself, and it applies 8 points of the Wish Strength buff to the recipient. So each point grants 5 max HP, 2 strength, 0.5 attack. So this is times 8. So that's what, 40 hit points, 16 strength, 4 attack skill and defense, and 4 precision. Multiple castings of the spell are not cumulative. So what does that take to cast? N3? That is a really interesting spell to cast on yourself. So would you use this? I mean, I guess there's lots of uses for this. You could use this on someone you're trying to turn into an interesting little thug. Give them a bunch more strength. But even just casting on an important spellcaster to give them more hit points would be really good, wouldn't it? Only 14 nature gems. Depending on how lucky you are, you might have tons of nature gems to spend on that. Really cool spell. In combat we can do N4 for 2 nature gems, Dozing, Mist of Regeneration. So entire battlefield except enemies this time gets regen that lingers. That's pretty... I guess you could... So if you're summoning stuff onto the battlefield, they will also get the regen, which is quite nice. But then, is this if you fail... Yeah, if you... Effective friendly creatures make a magic resistance check, and those that fail fall asleep. So yeah, another rough regen spell. An improved protection from poison, N5, 1 gem, 22 plus 3 AoE, 15 poison resistance. That's quite nice. I'm glad there's lots of poison resistance in the book because there's a lot of poison attacks. So that's good. Level 8 then we just have pure mass regeneration, so that's nice. No downsides on that one. 175 cast time, 2 gems. Not too bad. Eagle-Eyed Army is plus 5 precision, so that is Wind Guide, I think. Doesn't even need a gem, just N3. That's cool. We have an N5 ritual for 15 nature gems, Primal Connection. The recipient permanently gains Beastmaster plus 7. Multiple castings of this spell are not cumulative. So if you're leading around some animals and you really need morale, it's a bit late and a bit expensive for what it is, I think, but I'm not sure. We have some really low morale animal summons, maybe it's crucial later on, but I doubt it. And this takes 110 gems, N6. I'm going to assume this is a global. It is. Generates 9d6 nature gems per month, so long as there is a friendly province that is not under siege. So that is a big gem gen global. What's that, from 9 to 54 gems per turn? Could be good. That could pay for itself in almost 2 turns, if you're extraordinarily lucky. And the big spell at level 9 requires N4 and a gem in combat to do Mist of Greater Poison Protection. AoE 13 plus 1, 125 cast time, 20 poison resistance that lingers for 4 turns. Not amazing for a level 9 spell, but well, it's yet more poison resistance. Thaumaturgy next. So at level 0 we have Fascination for a gem. AoE 30 stun. That's pretty funny. It's not terribly long range though, 20 plus 5 scaling. It does require N2. It also affects friendlies though, it looks like. Those that fail to resist are stunned for a round. An improved Fascination, no gem. Also 18 plus 2 scaling though. Pretty funny. At level 2 we have Gripping Shrink. So one person gets shrunken. Interesting. And doesn't affect friendly, so you can shrink an opponent, and then if they fail a magic resistance check, they also become entangled. Not sure if we're going to use that, but okay. Tempting Whispers next. The caster attempts to magically convince one enemy to fight for his cause. If not resisted, this will change the allegiance of the target with their magical items and spellcasting prowess intact. Okay, interesting. So this is a charm effect that forces you to make 2 magic resistance rolls, so it's not quite as simple as just having 1 magic resistance check. So you have to get hit by this and fail a magic resistance check, and then take 1 point of damage basically. And then that leads to this section where you also have to make a magic resistance check. Nice though, that's pretty early, right? Tempting Whispers, only level 2 Thaumaturgy for a... That seems pretty good. It's range 40 as well. Maybe I should prioritize that. I think we have quite a bit of access to nature We should have quite a few nature mages that could just easily cast that. Might catch people off guard. Especially if there's someone who's got really low magic resistance mages or even units. Can also do Toxic Rage in combat. So one person is affected by... This is a very odd looking effect. Affected by Enrage, I guess that is. Yeah. There's a 50% chance that enraged creatures direct attacks to any adjacent square picked at random. Creatures in the area when the spell is cast must make a hard magic resistance check or suffer 4 armor-negating capped poison damage. I'm really interested in these effects that say that they do all this stuff, but then the actual effect box just looks completely empty. I wonder if that's just the way it's implemented or if it's just broken. I'm not sure, but I guess we'll find out if we try using this. Interesting one. 3 then we have Moss Coating Berserk Wave. So this makes friendlies? Yeah. So AoE 1 Berserk spell for friendlies that also gives them Moss Body? Yeah. Oh, only if you fail a magic resistance roll though. So if you fail a magic resistance check, you also get Moss Body. That's really nice. Our units have decent magic resistance, so I'm not sure if they'll actually get the secondary effect. A ritual for N4 and only 3 nature gems gets you Shrine of Bird Communion. Lasts 1 month plus 1 month per gem spent. Generates a scrying site which may be used to scry lands up to 4 provinces away. That's pretty nice. It's not too bad. 4 then we have Harness Essence at level 4, requires N3. So 200% cast time, but it's 100 range, 100 precision. One person gets affected by something. Oh, Charm. So they get charmed, and then... What is this? So targets that fail to resist are Soul Slayed. Okay. I'm not sure... Is that this part of the spell? Alright, I'm just going to read it. Let's say, targets that fail to resist are Soul Slayed. Okay. If the unit affected was a commander, there is an XP minus 50 times 2% chance to pick a random non-holy magic path. If the caster's pretender's level in this path is less than or equal to the commander's level in the path, plus a closed D3, the pretender gains +1 to this path? There is no message when this occurs? What? So if I'm reading this correctly, you target a mage, kill them, and then if the mage's magic path is higher than your pretender just gets a magic level boost? Potentially? That is a very, very interesting spell. I have no idea how that's been implemented. That is crazy. It's only MO negates as well. And it's, I mean, it is 200% cast time. Removal of life extractor. So this is Charm, and then this is some kind of Soul Slay effect, and then this is this Pretender effect. What an interesting spell. Harness Essence at Thaumaturgy 4. Really interested to see how that works. We also have Advanced Fascination. So, range 25 plus 5, cast time 125, area effect 63 plus 9, stun affects everyone. Interesting. And Ravenous Swarm, N4, and spend a nature gem in combat to put up Ravenous Swarm. So that's the battle enchantment. 5 we have Angering Shrink, N2 and a gem. Lets you do, what is this? AoE 13 plus 1 scaling Shrink, and then some Rage on top, if you fail a magic resistance roll. This is for enemies, doesn't affect friendlies. And Growing Fury, and Growing Fury is also the battle enchantment we all know and love, and 4 and a gem. Level 6 we have Harness Lives. This is more of this effect. This is an AoE 1 version? Magic resistance negate. This spell seems really good. It's only MO negates, and it's like 100 range, 100 precision. If we can just put some penetration items on people, that seems amazing. N3? It's just going to be Soul Slay that also boosts your I guess the difficulty is going to be How do you actually prioritize targeting mages with this? I guess you can't. It would be good for actually stopping thugs, because it would insta-kill them and then maybe boost your Pretender as well. Interesting spells though. 7 we have Angering Slumbering Squadron. N4 and a gem lets you do 50% cast time, 100 precision, AoE 18 plus 2. What is this effect though? Damage special, and then it also does rage. It looks like sleep, okay. The caster attempts to put many enemies into a magically induced sleep, but also enrages them. That's a pretty funny combination of effects. Big AoE as well. Angering Slumbering Squadron, where's that? 7? That's a really nice opening spell to just really mess up enemy formations though. Because it goes off before any other spell's going to go off. And it's decent range. If you shove to the front, you might hit some mages with that. Sleep plus Rage is going to screw up a lot of mages, I think, if it hits them. We can also call Web Spinning Worm Mages in combat, that sounds good. So 2 Nature Gems get you 2 Web Spinning Worm Mages. So these are Worm Mages, but anyone who attacks the creatures may become caught in sticky webs. Pretty good. At 8 then we then have 2 versions of Charming Whispers. One that requires a gem and one that does not. Otherwise equivalent, let's see. So this is range 70 plus 5, 125 cast time, AoE 4, 100 precision, takes a gem, charm. Pretty nice. And this is 50% cast time, AoE 1, 40 range, charm. Only 5 fatigue cost. Lots of interesting save or die spells in nature, huh? And lots of big spells as well at 9, let's see. So we have Web Woven Fascinate Army, N4 and 4 gems. The entire battlefield is hit by stun, and then the entire battlefield is hit by web. And that also hits friendlies. Interesting. Next we have Tainted Curse of Fascination. So this takes 3 nature gems. Entire battlefield is hit by stun, and then poison. Interesting. Web Woven Mass Shrinkage. Entire battlefield, this takes 4 nature gems. Entire battlefield is hit by... what is this one? Shrink. And then extra web. Interesting. And finally, an N6 mage with 2 gems can do Mass Enrage. So everything on the battlefield gets enraged. So you can really screw up the entire battlefield if you want to at 9. That's pretty funny. Cool spells. And blood does nothing. Alright then, well, there's the nature spells. Let me know what you think of those in the comments. The spells where you steal magic paths for your Pretender sound crazy. But I wonder how difficult it's going to be to actually make use of those fully. Seems like they might just be Soul Slay spells essentially, because they'll probably just always hit units. But anyway, yeah, cool spells. Let me know what you think, and that's it from me. So, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.